Yeah, for anybody that, wants to submit questions for these workshops here, you're always welcome to attach a screenshot to help illustrate, what your question's about. All right. Obviously, a screenshot, really helps explain what you're looking for there. So Dan sent this one in here. So Dan, yeah, my question is that basically number 2 is sloping up, but number 4 is sloping down, right? So we have 2 different slopes here. So correct, they're both on the bottom, um, the bottom, the swing low points, but they're sloping in, number 4 is sloping down, but you have a long signal on a down slope. So, I guess my question would be, let's see, so wouldn't there be a long signal here, right below 1, seems like? So, Dan, that's what I'm trying to get at, is this, difference in sloping direction here between 2 and 4. All right, so while I'm waiting on that answer here, let me just kind of explain what Dan is looking to do, as these blue lines kind of illustrate, right, is that on the stochastics fast here, he's looking for 3 uh, basically higher low points on the stochastics indicator. And so when he gets, 3 of these high points, so for example, right, we have 3 high points and they're all moving lower, then that would generate a short signal. So once we get to that third high point, right, once that third high point's detected, then generate a short signal because the high points are sloping down. And then the opposite here would be the swing low points. When the swing low points are rising, so we need 3 swing low points. And I guess this would be detected as a swing low point. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see what the indicator, how the indicator picks this up. And yeah, we'll circle back around to this possible issue here. But bottom line is, when we get 3 low points, stepping higher, then generate a long signal here. So there we go. Number 2 would be a long signal about there. Okay. All right. Good. So, all right. So Dan's just kind of clarified that basically, yeah, 4 here, number 4, with the low points stepping down, that would actually be a short signal. Okay. So 4. All right. So regardless of whether it's high points stepping down or low points stepping down, that's basically is what we're looking for, is swing high stepping down or swing lows stepping down, or stepping up. And so when we get to the third, swing point, or the third high or low point, then we want to generate a signal in that direction, right? In the direction of the points moving. So let me get my indicator set up here, and then we can dive into this. Oh, okay. So I need to switch to a Renko chart so I can get the stochastics to move rapidly like that. Let's see here. All right, I think this will work. All right, so using a 10 range chart here. Well, actually, that's a Renko. So, all right, let me switch over to a Renko chart. There we go. All right, that looks a lot more like the screenshot here. So I'm just, looking at the stochastics and looking at the high points there. Yep. So now we can see the high point stepping down nice and cleanly. Yep, high point stepping down. Okay, we will leave it right there, right like that. Let's see, one more thing we're going to need here. So the only way, right, to detect a high point or a low point, right, is to use a swing type of indicator, right? So you could either use NinjaTrader's swing indicator, which admittedly it's consistent, but it is a little slow. But we do have a swing indicator included with the installer here. So we have swing highs and lows. And so the swing highs and lows indicator is basically a stripped down version of another indicator called price action swings. So the swing highs and lows is not our invention, so it actually comes from the price action swings indicator, which is available on, so the original indicator swing price action swings is available on Futures IO, and I think it's also available in NinjaTrader's app share location as well. I think somebody uploaded it up there eventually. So what we need to do, right, is we need some kind of a swing point indicator, and we're going to apply it onto the stochastics, right? So the swing indicators actually is what is detecting the high and low points, right? So let's see. I think we're probably going to need to reduce the swing strength as well. Let's see. All right. Also, so for the swing indicator, we need to feed the fast stochastics into it. So let's change the input series. Oh, oops. I fed the swing indicator into itself. All right, let me find the fast stochastics. There we go. Oh, and let's see, there we go. We're using the K plot. All right, that's better. So there we go. So now we can see the swing indicator, right, marking the high and low points. And so now it's just a matter of kind of fine tuning the swing indicator, so that you're seeing the high and low points show up, or being detected by the swing indicator as kind of best as possible. And all right, so I'm just kind of looking through. So one thing I noticed is that the swing highs and lows is not detecting these low points here, right? Yeah, so when the stochastics is at probably the 0 value, yeah, the swing highs lows is not working with the 0 value there. So it is working when the indicator is maxed out at 100. So yeah, so here's kind of an example of making sure, right, that your swing indicator settings are, uh, you know, uh, match what you want to see, because, right, you see all these little high points and these high points and low points, right? They're not being identified by the swing indicator. Whereas if I scroll back, right, here we go. So these wider high points are being detected, right? So they're a little wider and they're being detected, but these ones a little closer here are not. So I'll see if we can get those closer ones detected. And I think that's just a matter of knocking down the swing strength. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Yeah, so something else I'm looking at here is, yeah, so I'm looking at that green hash line, which is a swing high. And it's not that swing high, right? They're actually offset from each other, right? The green line is higher than the actual high point. So that green line is actually coming from way over here, this swing high, way over here, not this one here. So yeah, since the swing indicator is not working with when the stochastics is at 0, we're not getting these swing highs detected correctly or as soon as possible. Let's see. Let me turn on the tightest plots here and see if that gives us any help. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to work or help any, but it's always worth trying. All right, so I'm just going to turn the tightest plots off. Yeah, we can see here that some of these high points are not being detected either. Yeah, let's see if we can fix that. All right, so I'm just going to knock the swing strength down one more number. Let's knock it down to 2. Yeah, we're still missing the one in the middle there. All right, well, let's go all the way down to 1. Yeah. All right, well, we'll just work with what we got here. To do this, well, actually, let me rephrase that. In order to get this to work correctly, right, you're going to need, a better indicator at detecting these high and low points on the stochastics. So as we can see, the swings, highs and lows, is not perfect, right? It's not working correctly here on these low points, and it is sometimes missing these high points. So yeah, so we can still build out the logic here with what we got, but ultimately, probably to get it to working the way you want it, the way that you are visualizing these high points, you're going to have to come up with your own kind of custom high and low point, indicator here that you can run on the stochastics and get it working correctly here. All right, so we have our swing indicator basically set up as best we can. And so I think we're ready to start building. Okay, yeah, so Dan's just iterating that he's more interested in the logic. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so definitely the swing highs and lows is going to miss some of these high and low points, so it's not going to be perfect, but we can get the logic built. So, all right, so with BloodHound open here, first thing we need to do is put in a file name. So let me hit the change button. Yeah, where did May go? Gee whiz. All right, so there's today's workshop date. So we have a file name established, and so now all of our work can get saved to this file here as we're, building our systems here. So I'm going to switch over to the logic tab, and let's hit the new logic template here. Let's see here. Some kind of a name for this. All right, so we're using the stochastics indicator, and we're looking for 3 swing points, so either higher lows or lower highs. All right, so I'm just looking for a good place to work on my chart here. Yeah, I've got plenty of places where the swing points are stepping down. So I got the swing high stepping down, the swing low stepping down. And I'm trying to find a place where the swing points are stepping up. Nice clean place to work. Well, looks like I need more data, or I'll try switching instruments here. Let's see what the RTY has to offer. Hey, there we go. All right, the RTY is working with me. So here we go. So we have these swing lows stepping up. So that would generate a long signal, right? Yeah, just a moment. Let me make another indicator adjustment here. There we go. All right, that works better. So let me show you guys what I was seeing on the chart. So with the number of swings set to 3, right, I was seeing that the swing high points, right, they were detecting those high points like immediately. But the swing low points, if you look how far away the plot is, right, so this red line, the red hashes here, is detecting that low point, but look how many bars it waits, right? It's taking multiple bars in between that low point and the indicator actually detecting it, right? So there was a huge delay in the swing low points being detected, whereas the swing high points were being detected like immediately, right? The next bar here. So, the larger the number of swings, generally speaking, the longer it can take to detect high and low points. So, so I knocked it down to 2, and that basically will detect these high and low points as fast as possible for the indicator. And so when I knocked it down to 2, now we can see that the swing lows are now being detected on the next bar, right? So there we go. So that works better with the stochastics, So of course, whatever you're applying the swing highs and lows indicator to, you definitely have to go in here and uh, massage, the number of swings and the swing strength to kind of get, to get the ideal look that you're using the swing highs and lows indicator on, right? I mean, that kind of goes without saying for all indicators, right? You just got to play around with the settings and until you get it to fit the chart, the way you think it should look. So, all right. So now that I have my swing indicator adjusted here a little bit better. So I'm going to work with these swing low points here. Right? And what we're looking for is when the plot steps higher, like that, right? So the plot line, right, it's basically stepping up and then stepping up, right? That plot line's moving up. And it's going to be the opposite for the low points are stepping up, and it's going to be the opposite for the high points. So there we go. Right. So we have the swing high plot lines stepping down. There we go. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. So if you're looking for, an indicator plot to step up, we could use either the slope solver or the comparison solver. And normally I usually go, when I'm working with the swing highs and lows indicator, I usually use the comparison solver to identify, right, when the swing points are stepping up or stepping down. However, this time, I think I'm going to take a different approach here. I'm going to try using the slope solver. And I know I've done this in the past. All right. So let's see here. So for the input here, we're going to plug in our swings indicator. So let's go to the Shark Indicators folder. There is our swing highs and lows indicator. And remember, on the chart, we fed the stochastics indicator into the swing indicators, right? So the swing highs and lows, its input series, we fed the stochastics into that, right? Or nested the stochastics into that. So we need to do the same thing here. So we have the swing highs and lows indicator. And so now we need to scroll down to the stochastics fast and then click the nest input button. There we go. So that's how we can feed the stochastics into the swing highs and lows indicator. And with the stochastics, we want to feed the K plot, right? So the orange is the K line. So we need to make sure we select the correct plot that we want to feed into the swing highs and lows. So now with the swing highs and lows, we need to go in here and adjust the settings to match what's on the chart, right? So number of swings is 2, swing strength is 1. And so now we need to figure out what plots do we want to check the slope for. So I already have the arrows on my chart. So we want the swing lows for longs, right? So when the swing lows, step up or slope up, then we're looking to generate a long signal out of that. So, right, so the red hash line, that is the widest bottoms. So we're going to use that for a long slope. And then the widest tops, right, that's the green line. And we're going to use that to generate shorts. And whenever you see this argument out of range or index out of range, that's just some kind of benign multi-threading error here that we're trying to see if we can eventually resolve that. But whenever you get that, all you got to do is just close BloodHound and reload the chart. Just do an F5 on the chart, and there you go. It's all fixed. And bingo, that is what we're looking for. So we're looking for, right, a long output here when the swing low steps up. Interesting. So I'm noticing that, I wonder if this is maybe a ninja issue or something, but I'm noticing, we put an arrow on here, right? We do have a long, right, output here. And so, right, our swing low plot, right, it stopped right there. However, I have a feeling, even though we can't see it, I think the indicator still is actually detecting the stochastics when it's at the 0 value there. And for some reason, we're just not getting a plot. We're not seeing the plot, but I think the indicators is actually calculating the value, or it's calculating the swing low at the 0 threshold level, right? At the 0 value. It would have to be in order to get this long signal, I think. So also, what I'm looking at is we can see this swing low here. And if we can compare it to here, this swing low is actually higher than that one, but yet we're still getting a long output right here. So the swing indicator must be detecting that low point, right? That the stochastics at the 0 value, but again, we're just not seeing the plot there. So yeah, so maybe this is actually going to work out. Good. Okay, so let's kind of take a step back here. So we have our yes, we have the swing lows. We know when they're stepping up, but you know what? Yeah. All right. I'm gonna have to approach this a little differently here. So one thing I noticed here is you see this swing low here, right? So we have this swing low stepping higher. So we got a long signal out of it. But then we had a lower low, right? And then, of course, we had a higher low. So we had our swing low stepping up. But the way our solver's setting up, right, I'm only getting long outputs. So I have no way of knowing that in between these swing lows that we actually had a lower low, right? So I need something to tell me that okay, yeah, we had one higher swing low, but then we had a lower low, and so that messes up the whole pattern, right? I need some kind of a signal here that tells me that when the lows are stepping up, that if we get a lower low, right, that the pattern has been broken. So I need some kind of signal to tell me that that pattern's broken there. So what I'm going to do is for the slope solver, I'm just going to look at the widest bottoms here for long signals, and I'm going to generate short signals using just the widest bottoms plot only. What I'm hoping, yeah, I was hoping I would get a short signal here. However, the swing indicator is not detecting, it's not detecting that swing low for some reason. So I'm gonna open up the swing highs lows indicator again. And I'm just kind of wondering if there's some other setting I can adjust to help detect that swing low there. All right. I'm adjusting the wrong indicator here. Let's see. All right. So I was adjusting the indicator on the chart, but really what I should be trying to play around with is, the indicator, the swing highs and lows running in BloodHound. So that way I can see if my signals change immediately. So just to explain here, I'm trying to get the swing indicator to detect that lower low that happened right there. So I'm just going to play around with the indicator settings here for a little bit to see if I can get the swings indicators to detect that low point. That's all I'm doing. So I'm just playing around with the indicator. All right. Well, so apparently we did end up discovering it, a limitation with the swing highs and lows indicator. So for some reason, it does not want to pick up that lower low right there. Yeah, so we're kind of back to, my original statement, which, is the swing highs and lows does not work perfectly with the stochastics indicator. Yeah. Yeah, for the most part, it seems like the swings indicator works great, but we do have that one exception there. Yeah. All right. So um, I guess let's keep moving on here. I readjusted the slope solver here. Yeah, let's get this open back up here. So let's kind of summarize where we're at. So with the slope solver, right, I'm using the slope solver on one plot only. So for the widest bottoms, right, I'm detecting when the widest bottoms basically steps up or steps down, right? So yeah, so when the uh, swing lows in red, if it steps down, right, like right there, if it steps down, we're going to get a short signal. And then if it steps up, we're going to get a long signal here. And again, the reason why is, well, yeah, let's see if I can find a good example. Well, I don't have any great examples here, but so here, yeah, we'll just have to imagine here. So, all right, so I have the stochastics starting at the bottom. We have a higher low, actually a double bottom, and then another higher low, but then we have a lower low, right? So I have my long signals here, identifying the swing point stepping up. And so if for some reason a low point moves lower, right, I need this short signal telling me that the low point stepped lower. So that way I can use this short signal to effectively cancel out, the stepping up, right? So what ultimately what we're going to get at is we're going to be looking for, two long signals in a row, or two short signals in a row. So, but if there is, so let's mark this here. So let's say if that was the first long signal, so we'll just have to imagine that that was the first long signal, and this would be the second long signal. Well, since we have a short signal in between, right, that tells us that the swing lows were not stepping up. We actually had a swing low step up, and then the low point step down, which would have, violated the pattern, right? That would have violated, this nice clean pattern of the high points stepping down, right? Or the low point stepping up. Right? And so, yeah, so we can use a short signal in between, two long signals to tell us that, that there was a pattern, violation, right? A break in the pattern. All right, so we have one solver so far. All right, so let's see. This is all right, so we have the swing low points being identified. And so we need another solver for the swing highs. And actually, well, actually, before I get there, let me do some testing here with the comparison solver. So who knows, maybe the comparison solver might work better after all. So I'm just going to set this up real quickly here. All right, so there's one of my swing indicators in input A. And again, this is for the comparison solver. And now for input B, I'm just going to do the exact same thing over again. All right, so to get this to work in the comparison solver, for input B, the displacement is set to 1. So I'm just kind of looking at analyzing the outputs here, making sure everything looks good. Yeah, so interestingly enough, I'm not sure what's going on, but the comparison solver is missing some of the stepping up and stepping down. Let's see if I can find an example. Yeah, there we go. So right there and right there. Let's take a look at those. So now if I connect in the comparison solver, see where my green arrows are? So when the low point stepped up, you know, I'm missing those. So yeah, so I think what that's telling me is that actually the indicator actually is not plotting when the stochastics is at 0. Yeah, I think the swing highs and lows actually is not plotting when that stochastics is at 0, but there's something about this slope solver that is picking up that, you know, when the stochastics is at 0, right, that there is no swing low. And then when a swing low does appear, it is picking that up as a, you know, as a movement higher in the swing low plots. So I guess that must be what's happening. So that makes sense as to why there's no short signal here when these low points step lower. So when we get this lower low, yeah, there's no short here for the swing low stepping lower, because actually the swing low is not stepping lower. It's not actually plotting at this 0 value. Okay. Yeah, so I think this kind of confirms that, that the swing highs lows indicator is not working with 0 values here. All right, so I'm going to get rid of the comparison solver. Let's just get rid of that. And we'll go with the slope solver here. That seems to be our best candidate so far. All right, so let's move over to the solvers tab. And I'm going to delete that comparison solver out of here so it's completely gone. And I'm going to make a copy of this slope solver. Make a copy of it. And I'm going to adjust one of these to be using the swing high plot. Right. So we just need to open up the indicator and select the widest tops, like so. Okay, So there we go. So we have our two slope solvers now. And if we go to existing nodes, right, there's that swing high slope solver that we just made. Put that on here. Connect that in. And so now, let's see. Yeah, so now whenever the swing highs are stepping up, there we go. And if the swing highs are stepping down, we're going to get a short. All right, so right here we can see the swing high steps down, then we get a short. All right, so here's actually I should probably start marking a few spots where I would expect to see some signals at the end once everything's finished. So here we can see the swing highs are stepping down, right? So here, this would be our first, right? Our first swing high stepping down. And then this would be our, right, our, let's see, our second swing high stepping down. All right. So now that we have our main solver set up, right, identifying the swing points stepping up or stepping down. And of course, that's all depends on, how accurately the swing indicator is doing that job, right? That's what matters here is, is that the indicators that you're using with BloodHound, that they're doing their job as, correctly. So, all right. So next, we're just looking for two signals in a row. And then, once we get two signals in a row, right, we're basically done. Let's see here. All right, so to start counting signals, I'm just trying to think if the signal counter is the best solver to use. I mean, normally we would use the signal counter, right? And we just count, for the second signal. So once we get two signals in a row, and be done with it. But what I'm contemplating is, the one thing about using a signal counter is, you have to have a limited look back period, right? So that's the main concern about using the signal counter is, how far back does your look back period need to be, right? And so in some cases, right, what am I looking at? I'm looking at the swing highs. Sorry, let's switch this over to the swing lows. There we go. All right. So sometimes, right, these long outputs are going to be really close together, and sometimes they're going to be really spread apart. So, right, so you don't know necessarily, how far back you need to look in order for this to work. Yeah, like here, for example. Yeah. The distance from this long signal to that long signal is quite a bit further than back here in this area, right? These swing points are pretty darn tight, or the stochastics, right, is stepping up and down, pretty tightly together here. So the distance between these long signals is a lot closer than back over here. So sometimes that can make using the signal counter a little difficult. So earlier I was trying to think if there's another way to, to count these two long signals in a row without, that doesn't require using a look back period. Like basically my other alternative would be to use a toggle node, to somehow implement a toggle node instead of using a signal counter. Yeah, well, I'm going to try and use the signal counter first. Yeah. All right, so with the signal counter, we want to count, right, a minimum of 2 long signals. And let's see, our look back period, probably, let's try 10 bars. See if 10 bars is enough, right? And for the output here, most people prefer to see the digital type of output. Oh, sorry. I have the wrong solver step plugged in here. There we go. So this appears to be working initially. All right, so we have a low point there, higher low there, higher low there, and then we have our long signal, like so. And then we have another higher low there, right? And some more signals. So now what we also need to do with this signal counter is, again, I wish I had a good working area. Wish I had a good example to demonstrate. All right, yeah, maybe this area will work here. I think I found something that'll work to help illustrate, yeah, the point I'm trying to make here with resetting the signal counter. Right, so here we go. So we can see we have these low points, stepping up, and then we get a lower low. And so this next step up, right, we don't want to, we want to make sure that this next step higher doesn't generate a long signal, right? That it doesn't generate a long signal from this low point back here, right? We want to make sure that this short signal basically resets the signal counter or turns it off. So we're going to connect that into the reset there to do that. Let's see. So let's go into the resets here. And what we want, here. So we want to enable the reset opposite signal. All right. So what's going into the reset is the opposite signal of what we're counting. So again, let's take a look. So what are we counting here? We're counting the long signals, right? We want to make sure that we get, so once we get to 2 long signals in a row, then, right, that's our pattern, right? First low point, second low point, we get our first long signal, and then third low point, we get our second long signal. So there's our pattern. And then, you know, if there's a lower low, which is a short signal in between, right, this short signal here is opposite of these longs. So if we see this short going into the reset, right, then, you know, at the reset, if an opposite signal comes in, of course, the short is opposite of the longs that we're counting. And then, so that short it will reset the signal counter. And so now let's see with this signal counter, I think I can increase the look back period now. Let's knock that up to 15 maybe. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we got first low point, second low point, third low point, and a signal. And then we get first low point, second low point, and third low point, and a long signal. There. And then also the same if the low points are stepping down as well. So first low point, and whoop, grab the wrong one. Let's grab that arrow. There we go. So first low point, second low point, and third low point, right? All three stepping down, and then we get a short signal. And we just back that off a little bit. There we go. And then a short signal, right, when those swing lows are stepping down. And it does seem that having a look back period of around 15 bars seems to be working, you know, appropriately or optimally here. Let's kind of look through and see what else we have. Yeah, there we go. So there's 3 low points stepping down. Ah, here we go. So there's 3 lows stepping up, but that was not detected. Oh, no wonder. Yeah, so we had a swing low right there. So that was our culprit, that swing low right there. So yeah, and that little tiny swing low was detected because we had to end up setting our swing strength at the lowest possible setting there. I think if we knock that to 2, yeah, those little minor ones go away now, but we might lose some other good signals because of that. So, yeah, but in any case, let me go in and adjust all these. And, well, I'm not sure what happened there. I just lost some of my work. All right, well, just a moment here, guys. Well, wow. Yeah, I really lost a lot of work. So just a moment here while I just quickly rebuild everything. Okay, so there we go. I have everything back now. Oh, yeah, that's right. So I was going to, since I adjust the swing strength of the swing indicator on the chart, I also need to go into my solvers and adjust that swing strength in there too. So knock it up to 2. So that is what I was trying to do earlier. There we go. So adjust that swing strength up to 2, right, for both of my slope solvers here. There. All right. That's what I'm looking for. So there we go. So first swing low, second swing low, third swing low, and now we have this signal. So yeah, I just had to adjust the swing indicator to knock out, you know, that little tiny blip right in the stochastics there. So yeah, to kind of ignore that little zigzag there. So there. So that looks a little better. And let's go back here and see. All right, so even back here where my previous arrows are, there's our long signals and there's our short signals still. So 1, 2, 3. So actually, I guess with a swing strength of 2, things are still looking good. And here is that example of things not working out perfectly for us, right? So we have this lower low. Since the swing indicator is not working at the 0 value, what's happening here is we're getting first swing low, second swing low, and then third swing low. All right, so we're getting a long signal because the swing indicator is the swing indicator is finding these low points, but because the swing indicator is not working at the 0 value, we're missing that lower low, right? And so that lower low should be, we want that lower low to reset the signal counter, and that would eliminate, this long here. But yeah, if we connect that in, right there, that's our first long signal. There should be a short here to reset the signal counter, but since we're not getting that, the signal counter sees this second long signal here. So it's counting from 1, 2, 3. And yeah, due to the swing indicator, we're missing the reset there. Yeah, so just, something to be aware of. And we also have some swing lows stepping down as well. All right. So next step is to apply a swing counter to the swing high points. Let's grab another signal counter, connect that in, and we're going to set this one up exactly the same. So we want to count 2 signals, and we'll keep our look back period at 15. Open up the resets here and turn on the reset opposite signals there. All right, so this is looking at the swing high points. All right, so we have 1, 2, and 3, and there's our shorts. Let's see, we have a long from there. All right, yeah, I just found another issue that's going to pop up. Since the swing highs and lows is not working perfectly with the stochastics. If you look at the swing highs here, right, there is a gap, right? There's a couple of bars missing here, basically, from this swing high to that swing high plot line, right? There's a few bars in between here. Let's see, how many bars? 1, 2. Yeah, we have 2 bars missing where there's no plot line. And so that creates a problem. So let's see. So what happens here is, so we have a swing high stepping up there, but really, right, obviously this swing high steps down, but the problem is, right, that there's 2 bars in the middle here, There we go. Right. There's no plot. Yeah, there's no plots for these two bars. And so that's tricking the slope solver into thinking that the swing low is actually, or the swing high, that the swing high is stepping up because of these two missing plots, right? These two bars are missing plots. So that's tricking the slope solver into thinking it's stepping up, that the plot is stepping up. Yeah, so we did get a false positive due to that, due to those two missing plots there. There, yeah. So there, so we have a long signal due to that issue here. Now, of course, back here, everything's great. Yeah. So we have first swing high, second swing high. Well, actually, no, we're getting the signal right there. Oh, yeah, again, we're encountering this problem where there's two bars right here. Now, two bars right there. Is it two or one? Yeah, two bars where there's no swing high plot line. And so that's tricking the slope solver, yeah, into thinking that, that the swing high plot is stepping up when it's not. So, all right, well, kind of carrying on here. So with the swing highs and lows indicator as it is, basically this is our logic here. So, Dan, if you can find a swing indicator, that works well with the fast stochastics, then you'll be able to get, the signals all the signals will be correct. But here's the logic, right? So we're just using the, slope solver to identify, right, when the swing high plots step up or step down, and the swing low plots step up and step down, right? And then we're using the signal counter to count two steps in a row. So, all right, there we go. So we'll name those signal counters. All right, there's a couple more steps here. So let's see here. Let's connect these together with an OR node. All right, so we have an OR node, and we might also want a signal blocker in here as well. This is so difficult to look at because there's just so many false positive signals here. Like that long signal there, that's a false positive. Let's see here. Yeah, that long signal is incorrect as well. That short signal is correct. So we do have swing high points stepping down. So that one's good. Yeah, this long signal is incorrect. Yeah, this long signal is coming from the high points stepping up here. So that one's incorrect. Yeah, because again, we had a couple of bars here where there was no swing high plot. So yeah, so we got a long signal too early, right? The long signal should have been over here at this swing high, right? So swing high, swing high, swing high. Yes, let's see. Yeah, so here's some swing lows stepping up. Yeah, let's see, and some swing. What do we got here? I'm looking at that short signal. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so that swing low is being ignored. yeah, that swing low is being ignored there. But otherwise, we have first low point, second low point, third low point, stepping down. You know, ignoring that swing low there because the swing high-low indicator is not picking up that low point or that high point because we set the swing strength. You know, we had to step it up. Yeah. So, you know, basically that, you know, without better indicators, you know, without a better swing indicator suited for the stochastics, that's as good as we're going to get there. So maybe, yeah, you might like it with the signal blocker, or, you know, you might prefer without the signal blocker there. All right, so with that, let me take a look at the Q&A window. All right, good. So it looks like Alex, yeah, found a BloodHound signal for detecting price crossing a band. So good. Thanks for letting me know, Alex. I appreciate it. Let's see. Dan was asking, what about the additional signals that keep showing up after the first signal? Yeah, so we took care of that already with the signal counter. All right, good. Dan thinks he can find a better swing indicator, yep, to work with the stochastics oscillator. All right, well, I don't actually see really any follow-up questions, so I guess we're done with this topic here.